The vast darkness of space was broken by a strange light. It wasn't a star or a comet. It was something new, something that made the whole Galactic Empire stop and stare. Captain HFY stood on the bridge of the Nebula Wanderer, the biggest and best ship humans had ever made. He looked out at the huge space station in front of them. It was the center of the Galactic Empire, a place humans hadn't seen in 3,000 years. "Are we ready?" HFY asked, his voice calm but his heart beating fast. His first officer, Yuna, nodded. "Yes, Captain. All systems are good. The other ships are in position." HFY took a deep breath. This was it. The moment humans would show the galaxy they were back, and better than ever. "Okay," he said, "let's give them a show they'll never forget." With a small movement of his hand, HFY gave the signal. The Nebula Wanderer moved forward, leading a group of 5 other huge ships. They were all different shapes and sizes, but they all had one thing in common. They were unlike anything the Galactic Empire had ever seen. As they got closer to the space station, HFY could see hundreds of alien ships. They were all different colors and shapes, representing the many species in the Empire, but none of them looked as advanced as the human ships. "They're hailing us, Captain," Yuna said. HFY nodded. "Put them on the big screen." The face that appeared was blue with 3 eyes. It was Admiral Zor, the leader of the Empire's Space Force. "Unidentified ships," Zor said, his voice deep and full of authority. "You are entering restricted space. Identify yourselves immediately." HFY stepped forward, standing tall and proud. "Greetings, Admiral Zor. I am Captain HFY of the Earth ship, Nebula Wanderer. We come in peace, representing the human race." Zor's 3 eyes blinked in surprise. "Humans. But it's been 3,000 years since we last had contact with your kind." "Yes," HFY said with a smile. "We've been busy." As if to prove his point, the Nebula Wanderer suddenly lit up. Thousands of lights along its hull came to life, creating patterns that seemed to move and dance. The other human ships did the same, turning the space around them into a light show more beautiful than any star field. On the space station and in the alien ships, everyone watched in awe. They had never seen technology like this before. Admiral Zor was speechless for a moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was shaky. What kind of technology is this?" "Just a small taste of what we've developed," HFY said. "We're here to rejoin the galactic community, Admiral, and we have much to share." As he spoke, the Nebula Wanderer did something that made even HFY's crew gasp. The ship's hull seemed to ripple like water. Then, slowly, it changed color, going from silver to a deep, sparkling blue. On the screen, Admiral Zor's mouth fell open. Changing a ship's color might seem simple, but to do it instantly, without paint or covers, was impossible by the Empire's standards. "How did you?" "That's not." Zor couldn't even finish his sentences. HFY couldn't help but feel proud. This was why they had worked so hard, why they had stayed away for so long. To come back and show the galaxy that humans were a force to be reckoned with. "Admiral," HFY said, "we request permission to dock. We have an ambassador on board who would like to meet with the Empire's leaders." Zor nodded, still looking shocked. Of course. We'll send you docking instructions right away." As the communication ended, HFY turned to his crew. They all wore big smiles, proud of what they had just done. "Well," HFY said, "that was a good start. But remember, this is just the beginning. We've surprised them. Now we need to impress them." As the Nebula Wanderer moved towards the docking bay, HFY couldn't help but feel excited. After 3,000 years, humanity was back on the galactic stage. And this time, they were ready to take the lead role. The real show was about to begin. The Nebula Wanderer docked smoothly at the huge space station. Captain HFY watched as his crew prepared to meet the Empire's representatives. He felt proud but also a bit nervous. This meeting could change everything. Ambassador Sumin, Jaehwa called. "Are you ready?" A tall woman with short black hair stepped forward. Ambassador Sumin nodded, her face serious. "As ready as I'll ever be, Captain. Let's show them what humanity can do." Together, they walked to the ship's exit. The doors opened with a soft hiss, revealing a group of aliens waiting for them. At the front stood Admiral Zor, his blue skin shining under the bright lights. "Welcome to Central Station," Zor said, trying to sound calm. But Jaehwa could see the Admiral's 3 eyes darting around, taking in every detail of the human ship. Ambassador Sumin stepped forward, bowing slightly. "Thank you for your welcome, Admiral. We're honored to be here." As they walked through the station, aliens of all shapes and sizes stopped to stare. Some looked scared, others curious. Jaehwa heard whispers all around. "Are those really humans? I thought they were just a legend. Look at their ship. How did they build that?" They entered a large room with a round table. Around it sat representatives from different alien races. Some Jaehwa recognized from old records, others were completely new to him. A tall, thin alien with gray skin stood up. "I am High Counselor Vex. We were surprised to see humans after so long. Where have you been these 3,000 years? Su Min smiled. "That's a long story, High Counselor. But the short answer is, we've been preparing." "Preparing?" Another alien asked. This one had 4 arms and scales instead of skin. "Preparing for what?" "To rejoin the galactic community," Su Min said, "and to help solve some of the big problems facing our galaxy." The room went quiet. Jaehwa could feel the tension in the air. He knew what they were all thinking. How could humans, gone for so long, help with galactic problems? Vex leaned forward. "What kind of problems do you think you can solve?" Su Min's smile grew wider. "Well, for starters, how about the energy crisis in the Andromeda sector? Or the incurable plague on Zeta 9? Maybe the war between the Cracks and Vorn empires that's been going on for 500 years. The aliens all started talking at once. Some sounded angry, others excited. Jaehwa watched as Su Min stayed calm, waiting for them to quiet down. Finally, Admiral Zor spoke up. "These are big claims, Ambassador. How can you possibly help with such complex issues?" "Because," Su Min said, "in 3,000 years, we've made some big advances. Our technology, our understanding of the universe, they'd grown beyond what you might imagine." She pulled out a small device from her pocket. It looked like a simple cube, but when she set it on the table, it came to life. A hologram appeared, showing a 3D map of the galaxy. "This," Su Min said, pointing to a bright spot, "is where we propose to build a new type of energy station. It could power a third of the galaxy with clean, safe energy." The aliens leaned in, their eyes wide. Jaehwa could see the mix of emotions on their faces: surprise, disbelief, and a hint of fear. An alien with tentacles for arms spoke up. "If you can do all this, why come back now? Why not stay hidden and keep your advances to yourselves?" Jaehwa stepped forward. "Because that's not who we are," he said. "Humans have always wanted to explore, to connect, to be part of something bigger. We're not here to take over. We're here to help, to join in, to be part of the galactic family again." His words seemed to calm some of the aliens, but others still looked unsure. Vex stood up again. "This is a lot to take in. We'll need time to discuss and verify your claims." Su Min nodded. "Of course, we understand. We're here to answer any questions you have, to show you what we can do. We have time." As the meeting ended, Jaehwa and Su Min walked back to their ship. They could feel the eyes of hundreds of aliens on them. "Well," Jaehwa said quietly, "that was quite a dance." Su Min smiled. "Oh, Captain, the real dance is just beginning." The next day, the space around the central station was buzzing with activity. Alien ships of all sizes flew around the human vessels, trying to get a closer look, but none dared to get too close to the Nebula Wanderer. Its size and strange beauty kept them at a safe distance. Inside the Nebula Wanderer, Captain HFY was preparing for an important tour. The Empire had sent a group of their best scientists and engineers to see the human ship up close. Tae-young, HFY called to his chief engineer, "Are you ready to show off our baby?" Tae-young grinned, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "Oh, I've been ready for this my whole life, Captain." The tour group arrived, led by Admiral Zor. With him were aliens of different shapes and sizes, all wearing badges that marked them as top minds in the Empire. "Welcome aboard the Nebula Wanderer," HFY said. "Our chief engineer, Tae-young, will show you around." Tae-young stepped forward, looking both nervous and proud. "Let's start with the heart of our ship, the engine room." As they walked, the aliens couldn't stop looking around. The corridors seemed to glow with a soft light that came from nowhere and everywhere at once. There were no visible switches or buttons, yet doors opened automatically as they approached. "How do you control the ship?" one alien asked, waving his tentacles in confusion. Tae-young smiled. "We use a mix of AI and thought control. The ship is partly alive, you see. It can understand our needs and react to them." The aliens muttered among themselves, clearly amazed and a bit scared. They entered the engine room, and everyone gasped. Instead of the noisy, hot space they expected, they saw a large, quiet room. In the center was a glowing sphere that pulsed with different colors. "This is our main power source," Tae-young explained. "It's a contained star, you could say. It gives us nearly unlimited energy." Admiral Zor's three eyes widened. Impossible. The energy needed to contain a star would be more than the star produces. Tae-young finished for him. "That's what we thought too, 1,000 years ago, but we found a way around that problem." He went on to explain how the ship used the energy of space itself, something the aliens had never even thought possible. As he talked, the alien scientists scribbled notes furiously, their faces showing a mix of disbelief and awe. Next, they'd visited the medical bay. It looked more like a relaxing spa than a hospital. There were no scary machines or sharp tools. "Here we can cure almost any disease or injury," Tae-young said. "We use nanobots and energy fields to heal the body from the inside out." One of the alien doctors, a small green being, spoke up. "But what about genetic diseases or aging?" Tae-young's smile grew wider. "Those too. We've extended the human lifespan to over 300 years, and we're working on making it even longer." The tour continued, with each new area of the ship revealing more wonders. The aliens saw food replicators that could make any dish from pure energy, windows that could become screens showing any part of space, and suits that allowed humans to survive in any environment. Finally, they reached the bridge. It was a large open space with comfortable chairs and huge windows showing the space outside. But there were no control panels, no buttons, no screens. "How do you fly this ship?" Admiral Zor asked, looking around in confusion. HFY, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. "Let me show you," he said. He sat in the captain's chair and closed his eyes. Suddenly, the ship hummed to life. The windows changed, showing different views of space. A holographic map appeared in the middle of the room. "The ship is connected to my mind," HFY explained. "I think, and it responds. All of us are connected to it, working together as one unit." The aliens watched in stunned silence as HFY made the giant ship move with just his thoughts, dancing between asteroids and other ships with impossible grace. When the demonstration was over, Admiral Zor turned to HFY, his voice shaky. "Captain, I must admit, we had our doubts when you arrived. But now I think the whole galaxy will want to learn from you." HFY nodded, feeling proud of his ship and his people. "That's why we're here, Admiral. To share, to learn, and to help make the galaxy a better place for all of us." As the alien group left, still talking excitedly about what they had seen, Jaehua and Taeyang shared a smile. The future was looking bright for humanity in the stars. As night fell on the space station, most aliens were still talking about the amazing human ship, but in a dark corner of the station, a secret meeting was taking place. "This is unacceptable," a voice hissed. It belonged to Imperial Admiral Guy Seok, a tall alien with scaly skin and sharp teeth. "These humans can't just show up and change everything." Around him, a group of aliens from different species nodded in agreement. They were all powerful people in the Empire, and they were all scared of what the humans might do. "We must find a way to stop them," another alien said. "But how? Their technology is so advanced." Jai Seok smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. "We don't need to beat their technology. We just need to make sure no one trusts them." As they plotted, they didn't notice a small camera hidden in the corner. On the other side of that camera, in a secret room, sat Imperial Security Officer Yenji. She was young for her position, with bright eyes that missed nothing. Yenji frowned as she listened to the group's plans. She had been fascinated by the humans since they arrived, and she didn't like what she was hearing. "I have to warn them," she muttered to herself. But how? If she told her bosses, they might be part of the plot. She needed to talk to the humans directly. Meanwhile, on the Nebula Wanderer, Captain Jaehua and Ambassador Sumin were having a quiet dinner. They were happy with how things had gone so far, but they knew there was still a lot of work to do. Suddenly, a soft beep interrupted their meal. "Captain," the ship's AI said, "we're detecting some strange energy readings from the station." Jaehua put down his fork, instantly alert. "What kind of readings?" "It looks like someone is trying to scan our ship," the AI replied. "But it's not a normal scan. It's aggressive." Su Min looked worried. Could it be a weapon? Before Jaehua could answer, there was a knock at the door. When it opened, they were surprised to see a young alien woman standing there, looking nervous. "I'm Enji," she said quickly. "I'm with Imperial Security. I need to talk to you. It's important." Jaehua and Su Min shared a look. This was unexpected, but they could tell Enji was scared. "Come in," Jaehua said. "What's going on?" Enji took a deep breath and started talking. She told them about the secret meeting, about Admiral Guy Seok's plans to turn everyone against the humans. "They're planning to sabotage your ship," she finished. "They want to make it look like you're dangerous." Just then, the ship's AI spoke again. "Captain, the energy readings are getting stronger. I think they're trying to hack our systems." Jaehua's face hardened. He had hoped for peace, but it seems some in the Empire wanted war. "Su Min," he said, "contact the Empire's leaders. Tell them what's happening." "Yunji, thank you for your bravery. We'll make sure you're protected." He tapped a button on the table, and a holographic screen appeared. "Taeyang, activate our defenses. But remember, we don't want to hurt anyone. Just protect the ship." As Taeyang's voice confirmed the order, Jaehua turned to look out the window at the space station. He could see small ships starting to move towards them. "I hoped it wouldn't come to this," he said softly. "But if it's a show of strength they want, it's a show of strength they'll get." The Nebula Wanderer began to glow, its hull shimmering with energy. Around it, the other human ships did the same. They didn't attack, but they made it clear they were ready for anything. On the station, aliens watched in awe and fear. The human ships looked like stars come to life, beautiful but terrifying. Admiral Guy Seok, watching from his office, felt a chill run down his spine. He had thought the humans would be easy to scare off. Now he realized he had made a big mistake. As the standoff began, everyone in the sector held their breath. The next few hours would decide the future of human-alien relations, and Captain Jaehua was determined to make sure it was a peaceful future, no matter what. The space around the central station was tense. The human ships glowed brightly, while smaller Empire ships circled them like hungry animals. On the Nebula Wanderer, Captain HFY stood calmly on the bridge, watching everything. "Captain," Tai Young said, "they're trying to break through our shields. Should we push them back?" HFY shook his head. "No, we don't want to hurt anyone. Just keep our defenses up." Suddenly, a large screen lit up. Admiral Zor's face appeared, looking worried and angry. "Captain HFY," he said, "what is the meaning of this? Why have you activated your weapons?" "We haven't activated any weapons, Admiral," HFY replied calmly. "We're just protecting ourselves. Some of your people are trying to attack us." Zor looked confused. "Attack you? That's impossible. We—" But before he could finish, another voice cut in. It was Admiral Siok, his face red with anger. "Don't listen to them," Siok shouted. "These humans are a threat. They must be destroyed before they take over." HFY saw his chance. "Admiral Zor," he said, "we have proof that Admiral Siok is behind this attack. He's afraid of our technology and wants to turn everyone against us." Zor looked shocked. He turned to Siok, who was now shouting and waving his arms. "Is this true, Siok?" Zor asked. "Of course not," Siok yelled. "They're lying. Attack now, before it's too late." At that moment, one of the Empire ships fired at the Nebula Wanderer. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the explosion. But it never came. Instead, the energy from the weapon seemed to flow around the human ship like water. Then, to everyone's amazement, the Nebula Wanderer started to change. Its hull rippled and shifted, growing new layers like a flower blooming. What is this?" Zor asked, his eyes wide. HFY smiled. "This is one of our defensive systems. It absorbs energy attacks and uses them to make our ships stronger." As he spoke, more Empire ships started firing. But with each attack, the human ships only grew larger and brighter. It was like watching stars being born. Siok was screaming now, ordering all ships to attack. But many of the captains were refusing, seeing how useless it was. Suddenly, a new voice joined the conversation. It was Unji, the young security officer who had warned the humans. "Admiral Zor," she said, her voice shaking but strong, "I have proof of Admiral Siok's plot. He and others were planning to sabotage the human ships and blame them for any damage." Zor's face turned dark with anger. "Siok," he growled, "is this true?" Siok's face went pale. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. "I think that's all the answer we need," Zor said. He turned to his officers. "Arrest Admiral Siok and his conspirators immediately." As Siok was led away, shouting and struggling, Zor turned back to HFY. "Captain," he said, "on behalf of the Empire, I apologize for this incident. Can you ever forgive us?" HFY nodded. "Of course, Admiral. We understand that change can be scary. We're not here to take over or to fight. We're here to help and to learn from each other." Slowly, the Empire ships backed away. The human ships stopped glowing and returned to their normal size. The crisis was over. On the Nebula Wanderer, the crew cheered. They had faced their first big test in the Empire and passed without firing a single shot. HFY turned to Sumin, who had been quiet through the whole thing. "Well, Ambassador," he said with a smile, "I think it's time for some real talks with the Empire. What do you say?" Sumin nodded, her eyes shining. "I say it's time to show them what humanity is really capable of. Not just our technology, but our heart." As the Nebula Wanderer prepared to dock again with the station, HFY felt proud. They had come to the stars in peace, and even when tested, they had stayed true to that goal. The real work of building trust and friendship with the Empire was just beginning, but now, everyone could see that humans were here to help, not to conquer. The future was looking bright, not just for humanity, but for the whole galaxy. A week after the big fight, Things were calmer on the space station. The Empire's leaders had called a special meeting. They wanted to know more about the humans and their amazing technology. Captain HFY and Ambassador Sumin stood in front of a large group of aliens. There were leaders from all parts of the Empire. Even some who had been scared of the humans before were now curious. Admiral Zor spoke first. "Honored guests," he said, "we are here to learn about our human friends. Captain HFY, please tell us, how did humans make such big jumps in technology in just 3,000 years? HFY smiled. He had been waiting for this moment. "It's a long story," he said, "but I'll try to make it simple." He waved his hand, and a big screen appeared in the air. It showed pictures of old Earth, with its blue oceans and green lands. 3,000 years ago, HFY began, we humans were not ready for the wider galaxy. We had just started to explore our own solar system. When we met aliens for the first time, we were scared and confused. The screen showed pictures of the first alien contact. Many in the room nodded, remembering the stories they had heard. "We decided we needed time," HFY continued. "Time to grow, to learn, to become better. So we asked the Empire for a favor. We asked to be left alone for a while." Su Min stepped forward. "The Empire agreed," she said. "They put up warning buoys around our solar system, telling everyone to stay away. And for 3,000 years, that's what happened." The aliens in the room looked surprised. They had always wondered why that part of space was off limits. "But we didn't just sit around," HFY said. "We worked hard. We solved our problems on Earth. We stopped fighting each other and started working together." The screen showed images of humans cleaning up the Earth, building big space stations, and exploring their solar system. "We focused on 3 big things," Sumin explained. "First, we learned how to use energy better. We found ways to get power from things we never thought possible." The screen showed strange machines that seemed to pull energy from empty space. "Second," HFY said, "we learned how to work with the basic building blocks of the universe. We can now change matter itself, making our ships and tools in ways that seem like magic." Now the screen showed the Nebula Wanderer changing shape and color. "And third," Su Min finished, "we'd focused on understanding ourselves. We learned how our brains work, how to make ourselves smarter and live longer." The last images showed humans using mind control to work with computers and machines. The room was quiet. The aliens were trying to understand everything they had just learned. Then, a small alien with big eyes spoke up. "But why come back now? Why not stay hidden and keep getting stronger?" HFY's face turned serious. "Because we saw the problems in the galaxy, the energy crisis, the diseases, the wars. We realized we had the power to help, and we believe that's what truly advanced civilizations should do, help others." Su Min nodded. "We don't want to rule the galaxy. We want to work with all of you to make it better for everyone." The room burst into talk. Some aliens looked excited, others still looked worried. But most seemed to be thinking hard about what the humans had said. Admiral Zor stood up. "This is amazing," he said. "I think I speak for many when I say we have a lot to learn from you, but also, perhaps, things to teach you as well." HFY and Su Min smiled. This was exactly what they had hoped for. "That's why we're here," HFY said. "To learn and to teach. To be part of the galactic family again." As the meeting ended, many aliens came up to shake hands, or tentacles, or claws, with the humans. There were still questions to answer and worries to calm. But for the first time, it felt like humans were truly becoming part of the galactic community. The revelation of humanity's journey had opened new doors. Now, the real work of building a better future for all species could begin. A month had passed since the humans revealed their story to the Empire. The space station was busier than ever. Aliens from all over the galaxy came to see the amazing human ships and to talk with the Earth people. In a large meeting room, Captain HFY and Ambassador Su Min sat with the Empire's leaders. They were working out the details of humanity's new place in the galaxy. "So," said Admiral Zor, looking at a big screen filled with words, "you want to start by helping with our biggest problems." Su Min nodded. "Yes, we think the energy crisis in the Andromeda sector is a good place to start. Our technology can help all those planets that are running out of power." Another alien, a short furry one named Gax, spoke up. "But what do you want in return? Surely you're not doing this for free." Jaehwa smiled. "What we want is to learn from you. Each species in the Empire has unique knowledge and skills. We want to trade our help for your wisdom." The aliens looked surprised. They had expected the humans to ask for money or power. This was different. "Very well," said Admiral Zor. "We agree to your terms. The human ships can start work in the Andromeda sector next week." As the meeting ended, Jaehwa and Su Min walked to a big window. They could see the Nebula Wanderer and the other human ships floating in space. "We've come a long way," Su Min said softly. Jaehwa nodded. "From a scared young species to this, our ancestors would be proud." Just then, Tai Young ran up to them, looking excited. "Captain, Ambassador, you need to see this." They followed him to a room full of screens. On the biggest one, they could see a group of alien ships. But these ships looked different. They were sleek and shiny, almost like the human ships. "What are we looking at?" Jaehwa asked. Taeyum grinned. "These are Empire ships, sir. They've started using some of our ideas to improve their own technology. It's happening faster than we thought." Su Min laughed. "Well, I guess they learn as quickly as we do." Over the next few months, things changed quickly in the Empire. Human technology helped solve the energy crisis. The sick aliens on Zeta 9 were cured with new medicines. Even the long war between the Cracks and Vorn empires ended, thanks to human peacemaking skills. But it wasn't just the humans helping others. They learned too. Alien art and music filled human ships. Earth scientists worked with alien experts, making new discoveries every day. Human children started learning alien languages in school. One day, almost a year after they first arrived, Jaehwa stood on the bridge of the Nebula Wanderer. He was watching a new ship being built nearby. It was a mix of human and alien design, the first of its kind. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" said a voice behind him. It was Admiral Zor. Jaehwa nodded. "It's amazing how far we've all come in just a year." Zor smiled. "Indeed. You know, when you first arrived, many of us were scared. We thought you might try to take over. But now I can't imagine the Empire without humanity. And we can't imagine being without the Empire," Jaehwa said. "We're stronger together than we ever were apart." As they watched, the new ship's engines lit up for the first time. It rose slowly, then shot off into space, a symbol of what humans and aliens could do together. Jaehwa thought about the long journey that had brought humanity to this point. From a young species on a single planet to a key part of a galactic civilization. There were still challenges ahead, new worlds to explore, new problems to solve. But now, they would face them all together as part of a united galaxy. The new era had truly begun, and the best was yet to come.